Welcome to Riley Reacts to Season 8 of The Next Step. Brennan told me to say that at the top of the video. Was it Brennan or was it you, Ben? Mm-hmm. I can't remember who told me that you need to say that at the top of the video because YouTube apparently will like pick up the keywords. Mm-hmm. So now every video is starting with me saying that, just so you know.
It transcribes.
So is it going to transcribe what I'm saying right now? And then it's going to be like, welcome to Riley Reacts to Season 8 of The Next Step, Episode 4, where I, Brittany Raymond, who plays Riley, reacts to the latest season of The Next Step, the show that I was originally on for the first 4 seasons. That'll do it. Right? How much of the show?
I don't know. I'm not a YouTuber.
Or how much of it? Yeah, I don't. Okay, maybe I need to look it up. I need to not ask other people. I need to just do the work and like research it myself. In last week's episode, I mentioned that I was going to react to the pilot episode of The Next Step, which is like the first thing that we made to pitch to networks and production companies to be like, hey, this is the show that we're going to make, kind of. Would you be interested? Give money and like a place for us to put it, and that's how we got the show made, or that's how they got them. I can't do that. I thought I could get access to it because for some reason I thought it was online somewhere. Like I thought maybe I could watch it online and then like comment on it and just like I do with these reaction videos. It's not online anywhere, and whoever has it, whoever does have access to it, legally can't send it to me or to anyone else. So I cannot react to it. I wish I could, because my god, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Anyways, so sorry to dangle the carrot and then tear it away. Stick around for the end of this video. As always, I'm going to be answering questions that you guys have asked me in previous videos in the comment sections, which means if you are interested in having me answer a question of yours in next week's video, ask it down below. So yeah, here we go. Enjoy the video. One more thing I forgot, sorry. If you enjoy this video after watching it and you want to support this channel and me, please consider subscribing. It really does help. And comment the questions like I said, but also anything you want to comment, like a question mark or an exclamation point or something like a full sentence, whatever. And like the video as well and share it with people. Any of the buttons that you can press that you can interact with, if you do something with them, YouTube will usually be like, oh, okay, you like this stuff. Okay, again, if you like it. If you don't, then just leave. Go somewhere else. No one's forcing you to stay here. Now we can get to the video. Previously on The Next Step. Michelle gets A-troupe in touch with Moxie, the talent agent everyone wants to be signed by, but Moxie, after watching them perform, tells A-troupe that they need to get every doubter to say they were wrong, which I still don't know how they're going to do that. B-troupe has been chopped up into tiny little pieces because of the challenge, and Cleo is all torn up about it. She decides to give up her guaranteed spot to join the choreo round. I also made a prediction that Cleo is going to be cut because of this. We'll see how that manifests in this episode. And then we get reminded that there may be a mole at The Next Step who is leaking information to Tara Bling, the like, Tiara Bling, the like, I don't know what this hand gesture is. She's the like online vlogger who likes to talk The Next Step. So that's what's happened so far. We're back in Studio A, we're back in the challenge. It's like the second round of auditions. All the B-troopers are really, really struggling with this because they're pissed, obviously, because this sucks for them because they had the opportunity to go to nationals and now they might not have that opportunity. Okay, no. This is what I wrote about this whole like intro or being this whole challenge in general. I would have loved it if these rivalries got really out of hand and it creates a really intense dance-off that turns into a brawl. This is obviously not a fight club. It's a children's dance show, so they did not do that. I guess I get why. That's what I wrote. And we finally get to meet the new characters, which is very nice. We get to meet Anthony, who likes to share every thought that pops into his head, with Grace, who does not like it.
And you know, sometimes I get my hot chocolate and they spell my name right and I have the best day. Other times I have the worst day.
Do you think you could think about these things without saying them out loud? I'm trying to warm up.
Got it.
We already knew Grace, though. Daisy, who bonds with Izzy, my favorite, over their shared obsession with the band Cliffside Stan? No, that's not what it's called. Cliffside. It's just Cliffside. What is the band called?
Hey, nice shirt. Did you get that at Cliffside Sunset's last show in town?
Izzy doesn't want to get too close to Daisy, however, because they're afraid that if they become close with Daisy and then one of them doesn't make it, then it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck for both of them.
What's your favorite album by Cliffside Sunset? I make fan cams of them. Do you want to see?
Maybe after. I don't really like the band that much.
Michelle, a big deal.
When Nick asked me to help out today, I had to say yes.
Anyway, she's here to help out with the audition process and like choosing what dancers to be a part of A-troupe. One, because Nick's not a dancer, so like obviously he can't do it, so he needed the dance captain, then Cleo just like dipped. So Michelle's there. It's tense. People are worried that they're not going to make it onto A-troupe. Specifically, the people who have been on the troupe forever, and then like the new people who like we don't really care about yet because we don't really know them. But everyone's like, gah. You know, it's like uncomfortable, and Michelle like heightens it. She's like, you know,
You need to bring your A game today, because whoever survives this round is going to nationals.
she just puts on the pressure. And then Nick comes in and
No pressure, but some of you cakes may not rise. Does nobody watch baking shows? What are they doing on their Friday nights if they're not watching Pastry Punch-Out?
and I thought it was just very Nick. It was perfect. It was like very not confrontational, but funny. Anyways. An adorable moment between Jude and Cleo.
Are you new here? Oh, yeah, I wasn't expecting to be in a group with someone so beautiful. What's your name again?
Just to remind us that these two are so in love, and how will they ever survive without each other? You know, they've got to make it. They're both going to make it on A-troupe. They have to. Or so they want us to think. Cleo sees how nervous Jude is and decides to help her calm her nerves. And it's not like Cleo feels nervous or like wants to like deal with her own nerves, so it feels like she's just kind of like projecting it all onto Jude and is like, maybe you need my help, like maybe I should help you. So she's like always checking on her to make sure she's okay. But Cleo feels like so racked with nerves because like she probably shouldn't have given up her dance captain spot, honestly. She should have just kept it. And we'll see why in a second. Shad is back. He's in the studio with Richelle, and he professes his secret desire to become a musician.
The truth is, I might be a professional dancer, but I've always wanted to do music.
There's one line that he says, it's everybody does...
Everybody thinks that I've had everything I've ever wanted, but I don't.
I kind of wanted him. Like, it's actor's choice. Obviously, he played it very well, and I'm not gonna, like... If I was to play it, is what I'm saying, is that on that line, I probably would have wanted to make it that, like, yes, I want to be a musician, and yes, that is a dream of mine, but I also kind of want Richelle a little bit. Like, there's a part of me that is attracted to her, but I don't want to show it to her. But in that one line, I kind of like insinuated a little bit, just a little bit. That's the first thing that I thought. But then later
Thanks, Richelle.
the falling into love begins, so to speak. It's just so open and vulnerable, and I love it. I love it. Oh yeah, and then Richelle asks him,
Can't you just talk to the crew? You know, ask them to use your own music, maybe even one song?
I tried. They won't let me. Know what they do.
and that's all he says about it, and I want to know more about why they won't let him. Why won't they let you use one of your songs? Like, what, like, could it be that they're more like a hip-hop funky spunky crew thing and he's more like folk music, so it's like the vibe doesn't match? Maybe that's what it is. Or could it be that he's so talented and there's another dancer on his crew that like doesn't like that he's so good and doesn't want him to be the star, doesn't want him to have another thing that he has going for him, so he's like, no, we're not going to use your music, you know? Maybe. I don't know, I'm just making up. Richelle, that's new. Richelle tells him to go for it.
And that's what you need to do.
His music thing, obviously. And I thought that was a bit premature because she doesn't know if he's any good at it. So she's just like, do it. You want to pursue music? Do it. Later on, he proves that he absolutely can sing, but she doesn't know it at this time. So it's kind of like, she's just trying to be supportive, of course, but like, what if he was terrible? And then later on, when he decides to quit the dance troupe that he's a part of, this like massively successful dance crew, which he does do, he quits that and he comes to see Richelle and is like,
Shad, what are you doing here? Are you supposed to be with Radiation?
I quit.
and then she's like,
He might have just ruined his entire life, and I think it's all my fault.
you had this really successful thing and you're just letting that go? You have no other prospects for your music career, but you're like, yes, that's this successful thing that's making me money right now and like allows me to live. That's done. That's a bit sketchy and perhaps not responsible. And I think that's where she's coming from. Michelle is teaching the dancers the choreo, and it makes me think of the first ever episode of The Next Step when we were all auditioning. I had like a nostalgia moment where I was like watching Victoria Michelle be like the teacher of this troupe and like teaching them the choreography. She was like the baby of the group. Victoria was 13 when we first filmed season 1 of The Next Step. And we were all, 3-4 years older than her, around that age. And like, it just feels like so long ago, but yet not that long ago at the same time. Anyways, it just reminded me of the first time we auditioned for the show, or like for A-troupe, like the characters audition for A-troupe. And like, we're all stretching and we're all like checking ourselves out in the mirror. Like, are my turns good? Yeah. Do I have good extension? Yes. Oh, I'm gonna do some bar work. Whatever it is. Anyways, just reminded me of that. Also, Jude has a dyslexia, which I forgot about, but that makes her not remember the choreography well enough. However, she preemptively decided to ask Michelle to teach her the dance ahead of time so that she could have a better shot at the audition. And so she feels good. She's like,
Because of my dyslexia, I need extra time to learn choreography. So this time, I decided to ask for the choreo in advance, and they understood. I'm glad I spoke up.
Hey, you got the choreo down?
I totally do.
and maybe you're a kid who has dyslexia and you're watching The Next Step and you see Jude and she has dyslexia and she's like, but you know what? I asked my teacher and they were really understanding and they sent me the choreography ahead of time so that I could whatever. Like, she tells you this, it might give you the confidence, I would imagine, to be like, oh, she has dyslexia too, and okay, she asked her teacher, so maybe I can ask my teacher to help me out with the test ahead of time, or like tell her I have dyslexia, so like, or him or they or whoever, so that they can help me out with it in some way, so that you don't have to feel like so alone in it. I like that. I think that's nice. And during the audition process itself, we're introduced to a couple more characters. Xander, a hip-hop dude. Dylan, an acro dancer, though I haven't actually seen that character do any acro tricks. It doesn't matter. Ebby, another acro dancer. And then just, again, a whole lot of dancers dancing and saying things in their talking heads along the lines of like, I really want this, I've worked so hard for this, I'm ready for this, but I'm also kind of nervous, and
I need to bring it if I'm gonna make A-troupe.
The one talking head that stands out for me in particular is Cleo, because it's the last one that they put in the whole kind of series of these talking heads, and
I know I shouldn't get ahead of myself, but I want this so much.
I think we see where this is going, right?
I think I was a little harsh with Daisy earlier. I shouldn't have been that mean. I can't control who makes it on the team, but I can control how I treat others and make a new friend.
Hey, so did you know that Cliffside Sunset released a new single last night? I did. It was so good, wasn't it? Yeah. Bro, remember how it went? It went like, dance, dance in the air, dance, dance like it's okay. That's so good.
I love this Daisy character. She's like perfect fit for Izzy as a new BF. And I'm excited to see these two hang out and go on adventures in the Next Step Dance Studio. Michelle tells the team not to be discouraged if they don't make it.
There's always next year to try out for A-troupe.
And I had the thought of like, what if this is your last year though? Like, what if you're a senior at a dance studio, which it's common. Again, the Next Step doesn't follow like the rules of the world. In the real dance world, if you are a senior, meaning you're like 17, 18 years old, you're in your last year of high school, therefore your last year of competing as a dancer, you don't really have the opportunity to compete when you're in college or university, because your schedule is not going to be the same as someone in high school, where it's like you dance from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So, or sorry, you go to school for that time, generally speaking, and then you dance after school. If you're in college, you don't really have that because your schedule's kind of all over the place. But I just thought that this line that Michelle said, where she's like, there's always next year, you know? I'm like, that's not true. If you're too old and this is your last year, your parents can't afford it anymore, so you're like, okay, this really is my last year because mom's getting a demotion, so we're not gonna be able to afford it next year, you know, like one of those things. Or like we're in a recession. Maybe that's a little too real world right now. Sorry, back to the escape. I do also remember season 1, we were given ages. Like the first episode, we were told, okay, you're this age, and Riley was originally supposed to be younger than everyone else, which is why I always found it so funny that she was the first one to become studio head.
She didn't even audition. No, but as studio head, I made the decision on my own.
Because she was supposed to be the youngest one. The youngest. Like, even Michelle, Victoria, who was actually 3 years younger than me or 4 years younger than me, was supposed to be older than me on the show. And I thought that was funny. Cleo gets cut.
Cleo?
Jude and I are supposed to go to nationals together. This can't happen.
I'm sorry, but we're not asking you to go forward to nationals.
As I said, we were kind of seeing this coming. Or I was seeing this coming. Obviously, I don't know what your experience was, but my prediction was accurate, and I'm sort of sad about it, but also not really that surprised. Everyone celebrates that they are in A-troupe, and Izzy does this amazing, oh my gosh, everyone's celebrating that they're in A-troupe and they're talking heads, and then on Izzy's talking head, there's this amazing thing that happens.
Dance, dance in the air. Dance, dance like you don't care. Dance, dance in the air. Dance, dance like you don't care.
It's adorable and absolutely my favorite moment on this entire season so far, because you can absolutely tell that was not scripted. They just kind of did it because the camera has to like adjust for Daisy, but like I love that. I thought that was so great. It reminded me back of the season 1 days when they weren't really sure what was gonna happen. They just kind of like went with whatever we did, so it became more natural and like it just kind of happened, and you have these like beautiful little nuggets that you can't script ahead of time. That's more of that. I like that. I thought that was cool. Nick congratulates the team.
You did it! Yeah! So proud of all of you!
And then
So what do we do next?
it's like, I don't know. I auditioned to come here to learn how to dance and like compete. Not to tell you what to do next. Like what? And then Ethan steps in and is like,
Practice?
is it Ethan or is it Eric? Did I say, I think I said his name wrong last episode as well. Gosh. Anyways, I'll find that out soon enough, probably while I'm editing. Yeah, Nick just needs to hire a full-time choreographer at this point. But while everyone else is celebrating, Jude is miserable because her girlfriend isn't there anymore. And so they have this like really beautiful scene together where they're like crying and they're sort of like,
I know how hard this is. No, but I really want to be happy for you. I mean, you worked so hard and you earned it.
supporting each other and being really compassionate about the other person's experience. And Cleo's just like,
I don't want to ruin the happiest moment of Jude's life just because it's the saddest one of mine.
and I had the thought that like this is probably going to be a really big like chasm in between their relationship now, because if they stay together, which by the end of the scene you find out they're choosing to stay together.
I'm really gonna miss dancing with you. Even though we're not on the same team, we're never gonna stop dancing together.
If they have this big chasm, like physical distance, the distance between them might feel really like intense. It might feel like a lot of pressure on Jude because she's going to be competing all the time and not have a lot of time to hang out with her girlfriend. But Cleo's going to be like having all this free time and like wants to see Jude more often. So I feel like it's going to create this tension between them and it's going to be a problem. And then I wrote something else. Think about James and Riley. They broke up multiple times because of distance. Or was it cheating? It doesn't matter. Either way, that relationship was very toxic. Did I start skipping? Oh crap. Okay, we're back. No more skipping. From one struggling relationship to the budding romance of a building one. What is it? From one struggling relationship to a building relationship. The start of one. Whatever. We're brought back to Studio A in the nighttime, which is a sure sign that something romantic is gonna happen. Shad gives Richelle a vote of confidence after she confesses that she's not feeling good about, you know, bringing the next step name back.
No matter what stands in your way, you'll find a way to rise above. You always have.
Then Shad sings for her, but for us, really, the audience.
Those songs that you write, are they any good?
You want to hear one?
Love to.
Okay. I pretend I'm stranded on a mountaintop when there's nothing to do but think about how far I've come.
And there's like a really beautiful like duet number that these two do, and it's, you know, it reminded me of, I'm sure that this is gonna be controversial for some fans, but there was this one moment where they did like a dream sequence for Riley where she was like daydreaming in her office. She shows up into a room and Alfie starts singing to her and like professes his love to her.
Would you call me crazy, but I don't make eyes at you?
And then he sees her and he comes up to her and he gives her like this passionate kiss. And she's like, oh, and then she wakes up from her dream. And fun fact about that scene, I hadn't met Giuseppe before I filmed that scene. So like I showed up to set that day and then Frank, the showrunner at the time, was like, we're gonna film this like little sequence. We don't know where it's gonna go, but we wanna just film this sequence. And I think it was partially Giuseppe's audition to see our chemistry and whatever. He's gonna sing you a song, you're gonna immediately fall in love and then like kiss. And I was like, okay, Giuseppe was it? Nice to meet you. Okay, let's make out. Which is like normal for an actor, but I, at that time, had never done that before, where it's like you first meet someone and then immediately jump into that level of intimacy. Very interesting thing to do the first time, but anyways. Two things. One, Richelle reveals that she has an epiphany about how to save the Next Step's good name.
We're gonna create our own show. A show that proves all the doubters wrong, along with everyone else, and really show them who we really are. I mean, this show will get us one step closer of reaching our dreams of going pro.
And my question is how? Like, what is this show? It's just so ambiguous, and I thought it was hilarious because, like, a show, it could be this massive endeavor, unless it's something like, well, even if it is something like YouTube, where it's like an open source platform, and maybe that's where Tiara Bling is posting her show, so it's like, okay, maybe they can do the same thing, but still, you'd still need to get, like, the camera equipment, and, like, you'd need to have a crew film you in lighting and like. But what I loved and what was kind of endearing about it was that Richelle just has this like unbinded ambition that is just, she has no doubts it's gonna work, this show, whatever that means. And they're also going to reveal details about it later on. I just like want to know what those are. And then Tiara Bling posts a new video.
The Next Step flops audition with manager Moxie Martinez.
Revealing that, in fact, yes, there is a mole at the Next Step.
The question is, who is it?
And I did have a theory for a hot second that maybe it was Shad. He's, you know, maybe friends with Tiara Bling and like they have bills to pay and they can't afford their bills. So he's like coming to like infiltrate the Next Step by like befriending Richelle so he can take her down from the inside. And I thought, oh, that sounds, you know, juicy storyline, but also probably not what they would do, because from my memory, season 1 to 4 would always be that like petty and like manipulative. They've made it more and more like of like a learning opportunity for young kids, and it's much more of like a reference of a healthy relationship for children. So I don't think they're gonna do that. Final thoughts. I think I need a new office chair. So there was a few questions that were talking about acting techniques and like acting books that I would recommend or something. And I would gladly answer those questions. I am so fascinated and love talking about acting. So obviously I can talk about that and I would love to answer those. But I just don't know if like the great majority of people watching these videos would be interested in that. However, if you would like, I have made a couple videos about some acting books already that I've really loved that I'll link for you down below, as well as an acting kind of video that I made called How to Prepare for an Audition, which was probably one of my favorite videos I've made because it took a lot of work. So if you're one of those people who ask questions about acting, check those videos out. Okay, we've got a question from Olivia Wilson. Her question is, do you think teenage girls in dance studios have the same attitude of not caring how they look as you did when you were a teenager? Or do you think that the way things have evolved since then, example 13-year-old girls wearing crop tops, makeup, That's well done and not just blue eyeshadow. Spending so much time on social media, being constantly exposed to influencers who look amazing all the time has influenced how much dancers care about being made up during rehearsals. Oh, for sure. Here's the thing. When I was 17, social media didn't really exist like it does now. The start of it was happening when I was kind of coming out of high school. And by that I mean like the popularity of it. So like I don't actually know when those apps started, but like Instagram was not as big of a thing as it is now. It was much more for like photographers to post photos and stuff, and it was just starting to become a platform where people are like, here's what I'm hanging out with my friends, and I'm like at the beach and whatever. Like it wasn't really like influencer, and influencer wasn't really a thing. I find that it has to do a lot with like the studio culture as a whole, and it's not so much about just like one individual person. It's more so like if the culture of the studio is much more about, you know, the work ethic, and you're much more focused on the work, so like how you look is like not even a thought, or it could be a thought but you're not really concerned about it as much when you're in class. Whatever. I feel like it is much more about the studio culture is what I'm trying to say.
I agree with everything that you're saying.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at dance comps.
Oh, that's true. Do you want to come and answer some of these questions?
Not the way I look right now. I look kind of homeless right now.
Well, you could be off camera. I could just turn the mic to you.
Sure. Pass the mic over. I would say that social media has affected everyone, not just teenage girls. It's even affected, like, middle-aged men. Like, you look at the desire for luxury goods, conspicuous consumption, and, like, the amount of, like, Rolexes or fancy watches that old men buy now to try and show off on social media, or they'll buy a nice car to show off on social media. I'm seeing a lot more of that. If I was 12 and I got access to Instagram, I don't know how I would feel about myself. I would have felt horrible because you're constantly comparing yourself to everyone else.
I actually got Instagram, and then the next step came out. So like I got it to post about the next step, I'm pretty sure, or something like that. There's one photo that I remember I posted of like Riley's yellow shoes, because she had these like yellow sneakers. And I was like, Riley sneakers or something. I just like captioned it that, and it got so many likes because like the next step had just come out, and I was like, what? I just posted a photo of my shoes. And so for me, I had this weird other kind of issue where it was like, I was 17, I had just started posting online, and it didn't matter what I posted, everyone loved it. And it was like, it was a weird thing because then I never really could understand, like I felt like I had to, whoa, this is actually getting kind of deep. Maybe I don't want to go. I'm going to save this for therapy. This is actually good. I'm going to talk about this in therapy. Anyways, to answer your question, Olivia, yes, I completely agree. I think social media is super toxic to young girls and boys and people who just are trying to figure out what they want, and they're trying to figure out their own self-esteem issues and like whatever else is going on at home or with their friends, and like how do they fit in the world, and their hormones are going crazy, and like there's already so much, and their brain isn't fully developed before you're 25. Your brain isn't fully developed, so your prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of making decisions as to whether or not something is worth your attention. So it's like, oh, people don't care, people don't like me, oh, it's so much harder. Oh gosh, I don't look cute, oh, it's so much harder. And don't get me wrong, when I was 17 and I would like go to a party, which was rare, but when I would go to a party, I was so concerned with how I looked. I wanted to have my hair be perfect, I wanted to have my makeup be perfect, everything had to be, you know, whatever. That also was because of other issues that I was having that I'm not going to get into here, but that, like, all this to say that, like, I think that is a natural thing to happen where, like, whatever the community, like your general community deems as important or like valuable, it's hard not to feel the same way or like not want to like fit in, because like our instinct is to try and fit in, especially when we're like 17. I think that that's an interesting question, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If there's anyone out there who struggles with this too, know that you're not alone, and it's totally normal to feel uncomfortable, and know that anyone on social media, myself included, is posting the best moments, like a blip of their life, and that blip looks like a really amazing opportunity or a really perfect photo, like of a chick in like a person all dolled up or whatever, and they look amazing, but they have all the lighting and they have all the makeup and they have a team of people helping them maybe, or it's just them and they're really good at editing up an image to look a specific way. No one looks like that. People look normal. People are normal. Like wrinkles, pimples. I have pimples. Get off social media for a month. Delete it. Even if all your friends are on it, delete it for a month. I swear to God, you'll feel amazing. Try it. After the 30 days, you can come back to it. But do it for 30 days and you'll feel better, I think. And if it's still an issue, maybe, reach out to someone for help. Therapy. I do therapy. I think it's awesome. If that's something you can do. If you're living in Canada, it's free, or in Ontario with OHIP, it's free. I don't know. All of Canada has free healthcare. What am I saying? Thank you for your question, Olivia. And for anyone else who has questions, let me know down below. And as well, let me know if you're interested in hearing about acting. I don't know why I just get hesitant to talk about it, because it's like sometimes I'll mention it here in regards to like how I might play a scene if I was in that scene. But like other than that, I feel like no one really gives a shit. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. If you would like to see acting videos, or if you wouldn't, let me know, because it's helpful for me to understand what you guys want to see, because I want to make stuff that you guys want to see. Yeah, I'll see you next week for whatever the show is that Richelle is making. What the f is this show? I want to know.